Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to High School Hoops with your hosts, Steve Collins and Jake Stager.
Hi, well, welcome to High School Hoops. Coach, been a while.
Yes, it has.
Been a while.
Kids are graduating, moving into different grade levels.
No, my daughter's got me. I'm going to be an empty nester in 2 months.
Yeah, you seem very sad about that.
I'm not, but I am. I really am. But I'm available this fall I'm actually not available. I think I have 1 or 2 open weekends this fall for clinics, but moving forward after this fall, I'll be pretty open for clinics and things like that. If anyone's listening and interested and want to do a fundraiser, I'll come. I'll talk. I got lots of stuff to say. But before we jump in to today's topic, which is on this little sheet here, and I was telling Coach before we jumped on, I got my coffee. So I'm not going to fall asleep because I was telling Coach before we jumped in that as I drink it, that I spread 14 yards of bark yesterday. A lot of bark. Let me tell you, people that are listening, a lot of bark. Anyway, let me give a big shout out to our 2 sponsors. First of all, I got a big surprise coming from Dr. Dish with me and Dr. Dish and some stuff we're going to do on that. That's my tease. That's all I'm going to tell you. But anyway, make sure you go over and check them out. What I love, I was talking to Aaron the other day. What I love about Dr. Dish is they got something for everybody. Like they got the IC3, they got the home version, they got the big, the cheaper kind of industrial one. Then they got the really expensive. So it doesn't matter where you fall in the price range. You can find something that they do and they do it well. Make sure you mention High School Hoops, mention me, and they will take really good care of you. But it's good stuff. That's what I love. It's like the IC3 is like, that's a great starting. I tell people that's like your gateway. Like just start there. And then eventually I was telling Aaron the other day that I said I would have bought the home version with my son if they'd had it. They didn't have it when he was coming through, and by the time they had come in, it was too late. But anyway, so go over and check that out, and then go over and check. This is the best time to go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. I'm just telling you, it is the best time. Once school gets out and you know the honeydew list is over and you've scratched everything off it, and you've gone through the 4th of July, it's a great time to work on your craft, adding a bunch of cool stuff. I added something yesterday. Literally, it is a 43-page document on the run and jump. That should cost the price of a month. I'm just being real. It's really good if you want to run. Anyway, and I always am adding stuff. You can see on the new material stuff I'm always adding. And then I put it in the proper category too. Anyway, this is probably the longest introduction we've had, High School Hoops, but it is what it is. Yeah. Anything else, Coach? You know what I like about summer is the days are just longer. You know, there's still a little bit of light outside, and it's almost 9 o'clock.
I guess a little bit. It's pretty dark over here in West Bay.
Yeah. It must be darker in Milwaukee than in Madison.
Maybe. Depends on where you live.
Depends. You live in the boonies?
Kind of, actually, on the backside, yeah.
Backside of the boonies. Okay. All right. So today's topic was the start of June and what we're kind of getting into. What's your thought on this?
I think you're in the start of June. It depends on your profession. You know, you're one door closes and another one opens. You know, I think your wheels start to turn a little bit more because you have less responsibility if you're a teacher, to really start thinking about your team and what you're doing. Then you start to watch your team a little bit play which can really get you thinking and overthinking and so forth. I think that's another thing too, is I think early in June, we start to overthink a little bit and worried about X's and O's. And really it's about getting better, getting these kids in the gym, getting shots up, getting in the weight room. I think we're so confounded to, you start to think about what you want your offense and defense identity to be for the season, but it's going to change because, kids will get better and some will get worse by November, and so that ultimately changes. And you don't know if every kid's going to go out, depending if they stay eligible. I mean, there's just a lot of factors that go into it. But I think overall, the summer to me in the early steps of June is how are we getting our players to get into the gym and get better? And I'm not talking just as shots up, but I'm talking about, being a complete athlete, working out, looking at body types. And I'm sure from who Caitlin Clark is. We don't often talk about other collegiate players and stuff, but she had a heck of a run this year at Iowa, and she put on 8 pounds of muscle from lifting weights all last year. And that was something that the media never really talked about, but there's been a bunch of articles about the importance of being a complete athlete. So I think there's a lot of value of pushing that with your players in the off season and June time, because you got to get it started right away, because if it's July, they've already picked up bad habits. You want to get those habits started early in June.
So we were joking before we came on air about my team and how, our first summer league thing. And it's like, and I can coach them, and we're still, I mean, it's not like that parents coach it, whatever, but it was like, it's not like, again, I wanted to play, like, literally all I'm worried about is, are they playing any man and are they working hard? Like, when, at this point, that's what I'm really caring about. You're right. It's about individual skill work. It's about team relationships and getting to know. Another point that you made when we were talking about my team is like, how are they gelling? How are they kind of getting, the best part of our game last weekend was I got to stop at the Custard place in Brookfield. That was the best part of the day. It sounded like we played well. So, but did we get stuff out of that? Yes, we absolutely did. I think as a high school coach, because obviously listen to high school hoops, or if you're a player, it is really about that development. I always think of June as, you're right, it's the close. Like, you've got 2 weeks still, I've got 1 week. We're just kind of ending the year. It's kind of chaotic. There's summer AAU isn't really kind of in this hiatus for June. So we kind of get them for this month and at least get them more focused before they head off again until July, and then football starts or fall starts. So it's that kind of beginning of that magic window of a couple weeks where we get some undivided attention, I think. And there can be a lot of growth, I think, both as a player, as an athlete, as a person in that couple weeks.
Yeah, I think, like, lastly is that sometimes again, a lot of thinking is sometimes trying to do some mindless work, whether it's logistical things in the summer months, because as when it gets to, you start to figure out who your team is, that's when the real heavy thinking happens. So sometimes I find myself, years past, finding it more enjoyable to do like my practice plan scheduling. Some of the logistical things I turn on, my computer set up here where I can be able to see a TV, or I can, talk to my kids or do things where I could be able to do things, small logistical things and planning that doesn't take a lot of brain power. And so I think sometimes doing some things that don't really involve brain power, but I mean, like, really critically thinking about the game at a strategy level, is very helpful, because then you create more time for your brain to focus on those other things when the timing really matters.
I agree. I think you're right. I do a lot of, like, scheduling buses and stuff like that. I do a lot of that brainless stuff before the year gets out. And then I think it's also the beginning of my my testing. Like, again, we can't have contact for another couple weeks, week and a half. But once we do, and I can use some contact days and things like that, I try to start my list on my, what am I going to test? What am I going to try? Is it the same as mid-December? No. Is it the same as the first day of tryouts? No. But you can test some things like, are we going to run read and react? Read and react. I mean, are we going to run that? Are we going to run maybe a matchup zone? Can we try a little bit of that? And again, you're throwing a lot of different bodies in the summer and playing a lot of different combinations. But sometimes you can tell athletically if they're able to. Like last year, I thought we were going to be able to pressure more. Kind of summer told me that we couldn't. So we kind of had to scrap some of those things. So I think that's another good part of it too, don't you think?
Yeah, and like offense always takes more time to progress, right? And so I think you want to dabble more on, like, I don't know, maybe to me, I always felt like summer was really intended for most of my players to just play man-to-man defense, especially the younger players, to just focus on making sure that they understand the basics of what you want to do within the your defensive philosophy. I think it's really important to just kind of hone on those things in the summer. I think it becomes a little bit more difficult and stuff where you're throwing all these zones and stuff, and that's great. But, really, is summer about winning summer league championships, or is it about getting better,
Yeah, no, I agree. We run a lot. I'm just picking examples, but you're right. We tend to run a lot of man. It's again, and what I noticed last summer too was it was more. I saw that people played well together. I saw some combinations that kind of helped through most of our season. It's like this person and this person played really well together. And last year when I moved Anthony up, my 8th grader up, and can he play at this? I took him to the Milwaukee League. It's like, can he play at this level? He's in 8th grade, blah, blah, blah. And literally 5 minutes into the game, I'm like, holy crap. Like, this kid can play at this level. That's
what I'm saying. Like, it becomes a testing area to look at tendencies and body language and how people, how does a player react to the speed of play? How does a player react when they miss 3 or 4 shots? Can they do something else besides shoot the basket? What is their demeanor like on the bench when things aren't going right? Do they hustle back on defense? You start to look at those things. And I'd also think it's important too, is to not overcoach your kids. You don't want to be that coach that coaches everything and they're going to be sick of you and you're going to be sick of them. It's okay to step back and just be, an observer. And I think there's nothing wrong with being a support system, but I also think it's about healthy balance.
Oh, 100%. I agree. And it's like, well, I'm going to tell you, like, I'm leaving for 12 days in the June. And I'm just like, that's fine. Once we get camp going and blah, blah, blah. And my assistant coach is like, that's fine for them. I've built a big enough connection post COVID now that I have enough in the bank that, coach ain't here for a couple of weeks. That's fine. I think it's about build, and it's good. It's good for those other people too, as far as building those combinations. Anything else, Coach?
Nope.
All right. Well, wow. That was a quick nope. I guess not. Coach says everything else for June. He's good to go. Anyway, if you're not good to go, it's a great time to go over and check out.
It's also like the last time we've ever done a 9:00 show this late. I'm not used to talking so late.
I know. Usually we do early morning. I know.
Yeah, well, it's because I have little kids. You don't have little kids,
no.
So I get a little cranky.
My daughter doesn't even know where I am right now. So
probably not.
She's upstairs actually writing thank you notes to all our high school teachers. That's what my son did that, and teachers still come up and I said, you should pick your favorite 10, 15 high school teachers, write them thank you notes.
High school teachers don't get enough of that.
They don't. And
they really
I'm telling you, when Drew did COVID, he wrote to every one of his teachers.
That's amazing.
And I still get like, that was so nice, blah, blah, blah. And part of it was he was stuck in the house, but part of it was this is a nice thing to do. And it's like, there's no like little cookie treats or something for the high school teachers. All right. Till next week, Coach.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Stop by
by Sherwin-Williams and get 30% off select paints and stains May 2nd through the 12th. It's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Refresh your home inside and out with colors that make every space feel brand new. From cozy interiors to stunning exteriors, we've got the perfect shade for your next project. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.